Hello and welcome to another presentation during our Business Analysis and Product Management Community Z Days. My name is Jan Mazurek and I will have the privilege and pleasure of being the host of today's presentation, Business Analysis Mock Interview and Real-Time Feedback. I am joined today by Valeria Vdovenko and Yulia Demyanova, two very skilled and experienced certified interviewers who together conducted nearly 350 interviews at EPAM. Today, they will be conducting an interview with our candidate, Anna Mikhailova. For all of you who are watching online, I encourage you to participate in the discussion on the CommunityZ portal. Share with us your thoughts on what you think about the interview structure, what do you think about the questions, and by all means, please use the Q&A section to ask questions to our interviewers. As we will progress through the interview, I will also share my thoughts and comments and later on provide a discussion with our interviewers and then also interview with them. Any questions that you might have, I will address at the end of the session. Stay tuned, enjoy the session, and Valeria and Julia, the stage is all yours.
Okay.
Hello.
Hello to everyone. Hello, Anna.
Hello.
Welcome to our interview. And we may start if you don't have any questions to ask before the starting.
Dear colleagues, thank you very much for your invitation. It's a very good chance for me and I'm very appreciative. Let me introduce myself. My name is Anna Mikhailova. Right now, I'm a senior business analyst on the ISNT assessment project, internal project in EPAM. I'm in business analysis already 11 years. I started my career in 2011 and I really enjoy my my job, my work, and in future I imagine that it will be nice to look my career around somewhere near project management maybe, but right now I'm on the session mock interview for business analysis level 4. Sorry, I'm a bit nervous, a little bit.
Okay. Okay, Anna, can you probably tell us more about your business analyst experience?
Mm-hmm. I can tell about several companies where I worked and my participation in different projects in different companies. It was a lot of companies. It was a betting company, Ligastock. It was research university was hot. It was in big company, Rostelecom, very famous in Russia, communication company. In all companies, I was lead business analyst. Sometimes my job position was expert system analyst. But I started in the my career. I was business analyst. My tools that I used in my project is Jira, Confluence, TFS, OTRS, MS Office, Microsoft Word, Excel, PowerPoint, Visio project. As system analyst, I can make I can create XMLs in tools Notepad++. I can create diagrams in using tools Aries, Draw.io. I think I'm a professional for doing optimization and re-engineering of business processes in the concept as is to be. I develop normative regulatory documents. I'm a writer of those documents, for example, concepts, regulations, any diagrams. I develop statements for the automation of the reporting any models, searching in the portals or in other any systems which work in the company. I develop of automation settings, panel and constructor, analytical reports, personal accounts, data mapping. As business analyst, I participate in any trainings, and I can train the customer representatives. Normally, I control of the request in bug tracking systems. I control releases. I had experience when I worked in betting company. I was there. My role was product owner and scrum master also, because I organized meetings, agile meetings, for example, daily, retro, demo, grooming, and others meetings. And I analysis of tasks, search for optimal solutions. I had experience in UI UX. Right now, I'm studying in university named Mythology. It's external education. I will get soon certificates for product design. This education consists for models, for designers, for product owners. In my background is good communications with customers, with team. I always worked with a big team, with testers, with front, back-end programmers, with a project manager, architects. Sometimes in my projects was a big team, sometimes small team. It depends of the project. If you will ask me which customer is better, I don't know the answer. Customers always they are different, and you need to find a way how to good communicate with customer. Now I'm a business analyst in my project and Scrum Master also. It's role, how to say, twice role.
Mm-hmm. Okay, Anna, you have mentioned a lot of skills and experience that you had, and could you probably provide like information about the projects that you're working on and products, especially what kind of products it was?
It was a project for internal customers for financial department. We make transactions from the clubs. There was a lot of integration with payment services. It's a system that which helps to our clients to pay for their bets.
Mm-hmm. Is it only one, or you also worked on other projects?
In the betting company Liga Stavok, I was a business analyst and system analyst. I worked in one project.
Okay. What is the most interesting part in the work of BA for you? What you can highlight it for us?
For me, the most interesting part is that I always communicate with everyone, and I know the real situation in the project in real time.
Okay.
And sometimes I can manage requirements and to create ideas for our project. It's very important.
Okay, and is there any domains that you can say that you are expert in?
Domains. I think I'm an expert with Jira, Confluence tools, as I said. Well, Notepad++, SOAP UI tool. I'm a good creator of UML diagrams, sequence diagrams, ERP diagrams.
Okay, and if you are saying about the domain like industry, client-specific industry?
I think it's government services. Government services. I'm a specialist. I'm an expert.
Is it some local government services, or you also had experience to work with international part of?
Unfortunately, I worked only with local government services. In my past project, we made a very big, very huge portal named regional portal of government services for Moscow region. As you know, we have federal portal gosuslugi.ru, and we made the similar portal for Moscow region. It was interesting. Okay, got it. Thank you. Let's speak about methodologies that you are working with. You say that you now working in Scrum, yeah? Have you experienced to work with waterfall? Yes, yes, I had experience work in waterfall methodology. Okay, which artifacts were produced by you, especially as a business analyst? There are, for example, as I remember, if you are working by waterfall methodology, you as analyst, I created specific technical specifications for API services, PME project methodology instructions, guidelines for clients, and guidelines for system administrator. What else? Any reports, many reports, and technical issue. Okay. And you speak about Agile, especially Scrum. Could you please name ceremonies that we have in Scrum, and in which business analyst is essentially required to take participation? The name of Agile ceremonies is daily meetup, grooming meetup, pre-planning, retro meeting, and demo meeting. Meeting product backlog, it's something, yes, it's very important, but it's not officially a ceremony of Agile.
Mm-hmm. And what is your typical product backlog looks like?
Typically, product backlog, it's a very huge backlog. Now in our product backlog, 324 tasks, a lot.
And what is the structure of it?
The structure, date of create, priority, the name of task, the link with Epic, for example, for story, the assigner, the author, which sprint, the field sprint in task, the field environment, the field description, the field tester, a lot of fields in the task.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Let's speak about discovery phase. Did you take part into discovery?
Yes, but not in my project now in EPAM,
Mm-hmm.
but in my past project, yes.
Okay. And let's imagine situation that you are starting a new project with a new industry, new domain for you, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
And you have to start some work as a business analyst. What is your next actions?
My first action is to know everything about domain, to go to customers to ask about domain, to ask regulatory documents, any technical documents, HAMS, everything. And plus, I need to research in the network, internet, all about this domain. What can I find in open resources? After interviewing of the customer, as business analyst, I need to know, will we work with this customer? If yes, if I know that it will be a future project, we need with project manager to optimize our time, to plan our project, and I need to help to my project manager do business analysis for this project.
Mm-hmm. Did you have on-site visits to client site?
Yeah, it's yeah. Sorry, I forgot. It's very important to find all information in the client side. Yeah.
Okay. You mentioned that you'll speak with your clients, yeah? And how will you manage your stakeholders? Which practices, which artifacts will you create?
Normally, we communicate using by MS Outlook tool, and sometimes Skype, sometimes MS Teams. Artifacts, it's MFU and reports. If we work by Agile, we send to our customers an invitation for demo, because it's very important for him to see how we development our tasks.
And if you are on the start of your new project, yeah, you don't know your stakeholders, you have to find the list of stakeholders, yeah, and prepare some kind of documentation about your stakeholders. Which practices will you use? Which documents will you create?
I will ask customer how he work normally with other companies. Maybe he has special artifacts in the company, in the client company, that we can use together for our project.
Mm-hmm. And if there are no preferences, what will you propose for client?
If there is no artifacts, so we can propose to our customer our documents in EPAM.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And if we say about situation when you are working with a client, yeah, and communicating requirements, and for the final stage, your client, stakeholder who should approve or sign off your requirements for next sprint doesn't reply. So what is your next actions in this situation?
My next action in this situation, I will try to call his subordinates. I will try to call him first, but if no answer from him, I will try to, oh my God, go by foot to, if it's possible, to his office. I will try to call. I will find in the client side any phones of his subordinates. I will try to call all of them to find this customer.
Okay, and will you create some kind of guidance for you for the future in this situation, in case if this client disappear and you cannot find him for some reasons?
Yes. My good recommendation is when project is started to talk with customers about these situations and ask him several contacts of his subordinates with whom I can communicate if he's not available.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and another station, let's say you also have two stakeholders, and they should approve your requirements, but they cannot agree on this requirement and how it should work, and they have conflict. What is your next actions in this situation?
If these customers same hierarchy,
let's say, yeah.
I'll try to say to them that we don't have right decision. We need to ask someone from this company who is manager of those two guys.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay, let's speak about backlog and requirements. Which format of requirements do you use in your project right now?
This is a business requirements because I am a business analyst. there are also functional requirements, non-functional requirements. There are different kinds of requirements. In business requirements, there are several items: proposal, the list of use cases, user stories. Sometimes it could be diagrams, UML diagrams inside business requirements. And it's good if in project team work with change requests.
Okay, and if speak about user stories, what is your format of user story that you are writing in your project? How this looks like?
Unfortunately, now in EPAM we don't have the official form in our project of use cases and user stories, but I think it would be nice if you will confirm any official form. This official form should include the name of use case, the system using in use case, actors, trigger, description, scenario 1, scenario 2, optional scenario, and the frequency of using, the validation of each use case.
You mentioned about use case, and if you speak about user story, how it looks like in your project, or especially do you work on user story format or not?
I worked with user story formatting. The main criteria is criteria of done result, the list of criteria of done result.
And what you put into user story, which information usually is mandatory to put into user story?
Yes, from mandatory, and it's a name of user story and the purpose there, who make creation and for what.
Okay. Yulia?
Yes. Hi, Anna. Can you hear me?
Yes, I hear you.
Okay, thanks. Thanks for your answers. Let's talk about requirement solicitation. So what approach do you have to elicit requirements from your customers?
The approach is we with customers discussing about use cases, and the customer should confirm our use cases. The use cases, sometimes we give him the access to Confluence to see the use cases, and he can add comments and Confluence.
Okay. And do you know any requirement solicitation techniques that business analysts can use?
Situation techniques?
Elicitation.
Elicitation. Unfortunately, I don't know, sorry.
That's all right. All right. You talked about drawing diagrams, and you mentioned UML as a notation that you used. So if you can tell me about the diagram types that you used.
Diagram types is UML, sequence diagrams, Visio diagrams, ARIS diagrams, BPMN diagrams.
Okay, and if you talk about UML diagrams, so you already mentioned sequence, that's a type of UML diagram. Any other diagrams within UML notation that you draw?
No, just those.
Okay, and you mentioned BPMN as well. So do you know any alternatives for BPMN diagram? For example, if you heard about activity one in UML.
Activity diagrams, yes.
Okay, and in which cases would you prefer to use activity diagram?
I prefer to use activity diagrams if we need to show high level process of our for our business requirements.
Okay, and you also mentioned sequence diagram. So what's the purpose of sequence diagram?
The purpose for sequence diagrams is to show the ways how XML goes from the modules of our system, for example, from database to another modules, from database to another systems.
Okay, thank you. Let's move on to the non-functional requirements. So you mentioned that you did have experience with non-functional requirements, right?
Yes.
And which types of them? So which of the non-functional requirements did you have experience to describe?
The requirements for quality, the requirements for I'm so sorry, it's could you help me please, Valeria? Требования к производительности, requirements for performance, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that was quality, that was performance requirements. Any other types of non-functional that you know?
Требования к надежности, the requirements for
reliability.
Sorry, yeah.
Thank you. Okay, so if we talk about the format, so you mentioned 3 types of non-functional requirements. So what was the format of describing them? Was it some software requirement document that you put into or something else? So what was the format of describing these non-functional requirements?
It's a text with the tables. Non-functional requirements normally it's in the main technical issue, in the техническом задании.
Okay, thank you. Valeria, I think that I can pass back to you and continue after your questions.
Yeah. I have questions regarding UAT session. You have mentioned that you are performing some demo, and did you participate into UAT session, and what was your involvement in it?
No, I never participate.
Okay.
UNT?
UAT, user acceptance testing.
No.
Okay.
The testing, no, I don't remember this because the testers always they with quality lead. It's a meeting for them. I think, I don't know, maybe wrong.
Okay, and let's imagine situation that you are performing demo to your client, and a client provides some negative feedback that the system that you built or functionality that you built is not that what was requested. What are your next actions?
My next actions, I will ask our testers to retest all models to redo test cases.
And if test cases are based on the requirements that were written and everything that based on the requirements.
based on requirements. So if it means we need to redo all requirements, right?
Yeah. If the client says that it's not what was requested.
I will try to find information between us and customers that he confirmed these requirements, because we took it for work, and if I will find, I will show him that it was confirmed with us, and if he will say that no, it's a bad, we need to change, I will ask him that we need to estimate our new scope, and it will be, for example, in next sprint.
Okay, and if speak about estimation, yeah, how would you estimate and plan the business analyst effort? So let's say you have the scope of work that needs to be written as requirements and also analyze it, and manager asked it to provide your effort, your input in it. How would you estimate? Which techniques will you use?
We use simple Excel timelines in our project in EPAM right now. Before estimations, I show to our team in observing meeting what we need to do in next sprint, our scope future. So the work of business analysts, it's before the sprint. It's not my task in the scope of sprint. It's out of sprint tasks for on business analysts.
And if you speak not about scope for the team and about your scope, yeah, you have some list of business requirements that you have to work on, and managers say when you finish it, when it will be ready for development team. So how you will work on this scenario? How will you estimate your effort in it?
I estimate in story points every task in Jira. I see the description of this issue. If I don't have questions, if I absolutely 100% know that I know how to do, I can give the correct effort to my team, to my product owner. But if I'm not sure about this description, and if I'm not sure that how many time I will spend with this task, I will give effort from the two numbers.
Okay. Prioritization. So how do you prioritize backlog items in your project?
I prioritize our product backlog with my product owner. Every week we have a meeting named product backlog. We see together our product backlog, the numbers of sprint. I share my screen with product owner, and product owner say me some news about our domain, about the future, about what to do, about the changes. And sometimes he said to me, stop to work with this issue because already we will not do this. already we need to do another items. And so after this weekly meeting, I change priorities of my items, and I sometimes closed tasks and creating new.
Okay, and let's say your client said that everything is urgent and should be put into next sprint. What are your next actions on this item?
In this situation, it's I will say to my product owner that probably we can do, for example, these 5 tasks, these 5 urgency tasks. It's okay, it's good. If I not sure that we can do this, I will ask product owner, can we go and estimate and with a team, or maybe I will ask my team what efforts for these tasks, and I will back to my product owner with feedback.
Mm-hmm. And probably, like you can ask any other help from your team just to provide like prioritization for this task.
No. Prioritization for these tasks only from product owner, from business.
Okay. Next question that I have on the change management process. How do you control your requirements?
I control my requirements. You mean what part already done, or?
Especially on the new changes that are coming from client, on the requirements that were already implemented.
Okay. If we have any changings from customers, I need to confirm with product owner, and after that I change my business requirements in Confluence. When requirements changed, we have special Skype chat named no spam, only important changings, and I I send a message there, and I see everyone is it's visible for everyone.
Okay, and let's say again situation that client provide feedback with a lot of change requests and say that you already have completed defined sprint, next sprint, yeah, with the items in it, and you have a bunch of change requests, and client says that some part of this change request should go into next sprint. So what are next actions here if you don't have room for putting this new change request?
I will ask him that I will ask the client, is it possible to do this new changes in the next sprint because and reasons why it's difficultly to take this new issues, and if I will if he decline, what to do? Need to do new the sprint with a new scope.
And what will you propose for the client in this situation?
I propose for client to give us more time because our requirements isn't ready. Team can't develop without requirements.
Okay. And additional topic from me, this is about prototypes. You have said that you preparing prototypes.
Yes,
if I remember
yes.
correctly. Can you mention the tools and probably type of prototypes that you prepared for team?
For team, I prepared prototypes using tools Figma.
And what kind of prototypes did you create?
Prototypes, colorful and sometimes it's high-level prototypes, just to show, for example, in which area should be the button, in which area should be the footer. It depends of requirements.
So it's mostly like wireframing, yeah?
Yes, wireframes.
Fidelity design, okay. Yuria?
Okay, getting back. Thanks, Valeria. I have a couple of questions on the team management topic. So did you, have you ever had experience managing people, managing business analysts?
Yes, I had experience. When I worked in Systematic in company, I worked there almost 4 years. I was a lead business analyst, and in our team, there are a lot of junior analysts, middle analysts. I was lead, and in my team was around 6 analysts. I helped my project manager to make all reports. I asked information from my colleagues, from analysts, and I gave them tasks. I planned our common work.
How did you understand whom to assign tasks? For example, you have very critical tasks, you have complicated tasks, but not critical. You have some low-level tasks to kind of not important and not complicated. How did you manage to assign this task? How did you manage to split them between your team members?
To split these tasks, I organized almost every day meetings in morning with our analysts, and I said them news from our customer, the changings, which tasks are more critical. For example, if this task more critical, so and this task is huge, we need to plan how, for example, 3 analysts can solve this problem.
Okay, and did you apply any motivational techniques for them? So did you motivate your team members, and how?
I motivated our team members by saying positive phrases, and by giving them feedback about their work, and I sharing with them positive feedbacks from our customer. I forward always messages with them about positive feedbacks. It was a common work, and analysts always had real information about project I shared.
Okay. And did you have any cases when the team member was underperforming?
Cases. Let me see.
And if you didn't have any cases, so what would you do if some of your team members is underperforming?
I will try to meet and to talk about future plans and about the ways to grow. I don't know.
Okay. Thank you. And I've got the last question. So, what technical skills do you have? So, you worked on technical side of the projects.
Technical skills, you mean?
Yes.
Technical skills. I'm a system analyst also. I'm an analyst pro. I feel myself. I'm not a business analyst, and I have good background in system analysts. Also, I absolutely understand almost everything about what talking architectures, about re-engineering business processes, about architecture of microservices, and about optimizing our system.
Okay, understood. Thank you. Valeria, do you have any other questions? We have some minutes left.
Yeah, on the technical part, did you take participation into integrations, data migrations?
Yes, sure.
And which kind of documentation did you provide for your team, especially data migration project?
Data migration project, it's a documents as is and to be, and the mapping, data mapping in these documents should be the user interfaces, the text, the description, the descriptions should be very understandable.
Mm-hmm. And which other attributes probably you provided in these documents? Which I think are important for data migration, yeah, and especially for documentation purpose and also for dev team.
It's a technical documentation where we write about backups, about the time of feedback system, which database we use if one database is not working, how we use reserve the database, many, and what should we do with the data in last system? Do we have any regulatory document, or we just need to clean them?
Okay. So I guess that it's also all from my side. I already asked what I wanted. So Anna, do you have any questions to us?
Thank you for your attention. I don't have any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Anna.
Would it be okay if I would ask a couple of questions, Anna, because I'm quite interested with what you presented, especially in the first part when you did your self-presentation. And there's still just a couple of things that I would like to get to know more about you and about your experience, if that's okay with you.
Yes, yes.
You did mention that you were playing on your projects the role of the business analyst and of the system analyst. And I would like to ask you, from your experience, what is the main differentiation between those two?
The main difference is business analyst. He's always mostly communicate with customers, with product owner. In some companies, system analysts, they get requirements from business analysts in some companies, but some companies, they don't have system analysts. Sometimes only business analysts, or it depends of company, sometimes only system analysts. The difference, system analysts, it's almost like architecture. System analysts, he's able to sometimes to read very good reader of code, and he can change something in code sometimes. Sometimes he can build
a part of the application somewhere, something or some solution suggest. Also, let's imagine a hypothetical situation. Like, let's imagine 2020 never happened. Let's imagine that we are still able to travel freely, and sometimes as part of our work as a business analyst, we are asked to go and see the customer and perform some activities on site. What would be your 5 suggestions for preparation for a successful business trip to visit the customer?
Okay, I understand. Thank you. First, I need to tell my team that I will go to the business trip. I will show our stagings to our customer. That's why it's very important. Our staging should work without any bugs, without any errors. I need to communicate with team and confirm which staging I need to show to my customer. It could be test staging, UAT, pred-prod, or dev, but not dev. Just maybe, probably it's only test or pre-prod, and I will communicate with team. I will show them what the list of issues probably I will show to customer. I'll ask team to be always on the line online to help me if something will be wrong on the demonstration.
Anything else comes to your head when it comes to preparation for the business trip itself?
I will print all papers, all documents. I will print passwords if I forget what can happen.
Imagine now also, you did mention inside your self-presentation and throughout the interview that in your work, you've been working with use cases and with user stories.
Yes.
Can you share with us and with the audience that is watching us online what are, from your experience, the main differentiations between the use case and the user story? And for which type of projects would you use user story? For which projects would you use use cases?
You want to show me to share the screen?
Not necessarily. Just you can, with your own words, just share what you think and.
User story. It's a high-level description of the scenarios of our requirements, and user stories always have the list of criteria, and the testers, they always recheck this criteria after our developers done their work. Use cases, it's many scenarios. They can be inside user stories.
And now let's also talk a bit about risks in general, because every action, every operation that we do in our life is always assigned with some kind of risk. And what do you think are the most common risks from the BA perspective that we can face on the project, and how to deal with those risks?
The risk is if something happened with infrastructure. It affords our deadline, and if something happened, we need to have the lag time to fix and to solve our tasks.
Any other type of risks that we might face as the business analysts?
Another risk, we can find something that affords different projects and systems. In this situation, I think we need to communicate both two projects. We need to organize meetings with projects, and to create any solution, maybe several solutions, and we need decision what we do, when we do. We need to sync together our actions.
And now you also mentioned that in some of the projects you played the role of the product owner and of Scrum Master. Do you think it's a recommended practice or not really, and why?
I think it's not recommended practice, because a product owner, it's a good thing when business analysts work with product owner, and business analysts work with a team. So business analysts, it's between between business and development, and normally product owner not communicate with a team except demo meetings. Business analysts communicate.
As for the Scrum Master, why not necessarily? It's a or maybe it is a good thing to be a Scrum Master and to be a product owner. From one point of view, it's saving cost for the customer, because the customer pays only for one person instead of two.
Product owner, because he's communicate with business, with customers, he don't have time to organize meetings with team, always non-stop communicate with team, like a Scrum Master. It's a lot of work to organize meetings in online meetings, to share feedbacks, everything. For product owners, the most important thing is strategy, the business idea, and for product owner is not important the ways how we will get our propose. The most important is the result.
And also, I'm kind of interested in this one question about the team coordination and about giving and assigning the tasks for your team members. So let's imagine a situation that you have two tasks. One is, let's say, some interesting discovery for a new functionality. And one is just writing business documentation to the functionality that is already being developed and is already available. And you have two BAs. One is a junior BA who is basically just starting the career in the business analysis domain. And the other one is already a more experienced, let's say, middle level business analyst. To whom you would assign which task and why?
For middle, more professional analysts, I will give the task about researching about the new big functionality for new development. And for junior business analyst, I will give documentation just to create description about functionality that we already have.
And what, for example, in a situation that we could, let's say, does it sometimes make sense to assign this discovery phase to less experienced colleague?
Yes, I have experience.
In which situation would you assign the discovery task to a less experienced colleague?
To give him a way to research for creating, and only if we have a lot of time. If we don't have very quickly deadline.
Yeah, definitely. I think in general it is a good opportunity to help also our team members grow, to nurture their talents, and to help them improve their skills. So whenever we have a large amount of time and we are not under big pressure, it's definitely good to give them this opportunity to perform a more challenging task. But of course, still supervise them, support them, and yeah, after all, we as the leads will be responsible for their growth. That was my last question. So I will now get back to Julia and Valeria to ask whether they have any questions still.
Nothing from my side, I guess.
Yeah, nothing else from my side as well.
All right. So in that case, Anna, I would like to thank you so much for the answers that you have provided us today. I would like to also thank Julia and Valeria for the questions asked in today's session. However, this is not the end, because I would now just like to for Julia and for Valeria to stay on this meeting just to have a further discussion about the overall business analysis interview process. So for now, Anna, once again, thank you so much, and your participation in today's interview was much appreciated.
Thank you very much, colleagues. Very appreciate. Thank you for me.
The pleasure is all on this side of the camera. You can believe us. And congratulations on being so courageous to take part in this interview. Definitely must have been terrifying experience at first, but I'm happy to also say that as you were progressing with the interview, you were getting more and more comfortable with the answers. So that's definitely that was noticeable.
Yeah,
So,
thank you. It's true. Thank you.
thank
Bye.
you so much. Bye.
Bye.
So now that we are here with Valeria and Julia, so for all of you who are still with us on the call and watching us through the Community-Z platform, I would like to, in general, talk with you in regards to the overall technical interview process at EPAM, about your experience with this, and also to share with our participants in the call your experience. So I would firstly like to ask about, in general, the impression for today's session, how easy it is to conduct an interview in an online version, knowing that people all over the world might be watching, and also that, you know, later on it will be available on an online version to review.
I've a thought here. So it's really cool when I tag participants here. So maybe that's because we kind of organizers, or I don't know why it showed as 6 people. So that was really helpful, because if I've seen maybe 100, that was a bit nervous. And having only 6 people here in the participants list for me to see, that was more relaxing and easier.
Valeria?
For me, it was a little bit nervous before starting, because I saw that it will be broadcasted and so on. But when I started, it's like my regular work, and it was, I can say, easy for me as a regular.
Do you often spend a lot of time for preparing for conducting the technical interview at EPAM?
I usually have my set of list of questions, like regular questions, standard list, but also some preparing some list based on CV of candidate. I don't say that it takes a lot of time, probably 15 minutes, and I guess that's all.
Julia?
Pretty the same, I think. Flows usually the preparation part is to review CV of the candidate we like to interview, and really that takes no more than 10 minutes. So when the first couple of interviews for you, I think that takes more than 30 minutes to understand candidate, to understand what questions to ask. But after 100 interviews, I think that you already have a list of questions, and you just can correct based on the experience you see on the CV.
Is it a safe assumption that if you would be woken up in the middle of a night, you would still know what kind of questions to ask to the candidate?
I think so.
And can you share with the members of product management MBA conference, what do you take notice in the CV when you are reviewing, when you are pre-screening the CV for the candidate? What are the important information that you look at, so that maybe our participants and viewers will be able to know how to prepare the CV for the future?
So yeah, Valeria, go ahead. Sorry.
Okay, I'm mostly looking on experience, especially on the projects that are mentioned in CV, if they are. Also on the techniques which are used by candidate during BA experience, also tools that were used. And I guess that's mainly all. So probably basic techniques based on the BA book. So if candidate knows, so this is like a Biblia.
Julia?
Yes, from my side, so I agree with Valeria, and also what I take a look at is list of responsibilities. So that's very often we receive CVs when there are only job titles and company name, but you don't have a clue what person did at this job title and the previous company. So I would prefer to see other responsibilities to understand what what's the list and what person did, so I can come up with a list of questions. And maybe I don't like when people are putting personal information within CV, like my hobbies, like I'm married, I have 5 kids. So I don't think that's important nowadays. Maybe that was important 30 years ago when there was a job search within not IT companies, but for now it really doesn't matter, especially for me as an interviewer, how many kids this person have. So something like that.
Mm-hmm. I think it also depends a bit on the country in which you are, because, for example, many years ago in Poland, when there was mandatory military service, it was useful for men to write that they already finalized their military service, so that the employer will know that the candidate will not be suddenly dragged away from work and will be put into the military. So I guess it also depends on the country, and also. I know that some of viewers might be questioning and saying that it not necessarily makes sense to ask a yes or no question. But I think if I may compliment you, what you did is that I did notice that in some occasions you were firstly asking a high level yes or no question just to get the sense whether it makes sense to get into the details of a certain topic. Because sometimes I think it's if the candidate will say no, and in some cases, for example, when it comes to UAT, Anna did say that it saves time for of the interviewers. It saves time for the candidate instead of trying to guess. Of course, it requires a lot of courage to be able to say no on the interview, but I think it's a good way for you to know whether it makes sense to ask more detailed question or not. I don't know whether you agree with this approach, or at least with my statement.
Definitely agree, because that's what we've done during the interview. So you're not spending time in something that person is not experienced person.
Together, you've conducted nearly 350 interviews at EPAM. What makes you so engaged and so connected to participate in those activities, and what excites you in technical interviews? Maybe let's start with Valeria for this one.
Yeah, I love to meet new people and to speak with them, especially interviews. This is kind of sharing experience, to listen other people, the projects that they are working on, like to be in trend as well. And also, as in EPAM, we have structures that people who is interviewed, it can be a part of your unit. And me as a resource manager in EPAM, I feel very like pleasure, and I love to learn and especially to help other people to grow and develop the skills. And if it's a candidate like a junior and middle role, it's always pleasure to help them to grow and to be a senior and lead in the company. So especially from this purpose, mostly communication and help others to grow. Or probably in feedback, we always provide like a recommendation for candidate, which parts should be improved, which resources can be used to improve on some skills and take next part.
Julia, what about yourself? Oh, I think we lost Julia for a second. Let's hope that she will be able to come back shortly. And in that case, we have one question inside our Community Z portal. So Valeria, I hope you will be able to answer for both you and Julia. Do you at EPAM prefer a descriptive CV which would highlight the past professional responsibilities and scholastic in detail, or as per EU requirement, just a one-page CV which shall be more concise?
It can be a one-page CV. It can be like split it into several parts. It can be like mentioned projects that candidate working on. Also, in most of projects, candidate has similar responsibilities. It can be combined into one part, but experience should be split into a period of times with a project mentioned in it, and some common responsibilities can be like a separate part which can be combined, and this will be enough.
Also from my experience, just to answer this question as well, I think if we are performing the same jobs and responsibilities in different works, it only makes sense to put it once for one company. And for example, I saw sometimes candidates are writing CV like responsibilities in a new company as per previous with additional, and then they just list these additional responsibilities. That way I know that I need to look throughout the entire CV to read the description and responsibilities. But definitely I think one time I received a 17-pager for a CV. That was challenging to go through. Would you be reviewing even a CV like that, or would it be just already so repelling that you would not look into the details of 17 pages?
It can be like a quick view, I guess, to highlight important information that it's necessary for me. But if any CV is important for me, so I will read it.
Also, what are some of the good practices that you can recommend being a certified technical interviewer to evaluate the candidate's skill and evaluate, whether a candidate is a regular, a senior, a lead position?
So I can say about my practice that I use. In EPAM we have like a competency matrix for each of role and requirements that should be met by every candidate. So this is the first one that I'm using. Also, from my side, I also trying to ask and also look at like techniques, most commonly used techniques that can be provided by candidate, at least if a candidate doesn't work with it, but especially mention about it, that he knows about it and can deal with it in the project if it's will be necessary. And based on such knowledge and practices, we can assess candidate and evaluate the level.
Now, also another question in regards to the interview itself. We saw that at the start, Anna was pretty stressed, but as we were progressing, she felt more and more comfortable and more into the interview itself. What are your secrets and tips for making the technical interview an enjoyable process, so that, for example, even if the candidate will maybe not receive a position at EPAM, but they will still leave the interview thinking, that's actually a nice company, I would love to work there, and hopefully maybe in the future, and I would definitely recommend it to my colleagues, because it was an enjoyable interview process.
Okay, from this part, especially we are starting with self-presentation from candidate and listen about past experience. And then during interview, we're trying to ask questions based on the experience, and the candidate can speak more about it. So it can also be easier for candidate to speak about what he knows. And also during this discussion, we can ask some common and typical questions about the best practices, techniques, and like we ask it about artifacts that can be produced by business analyst just on her project, or probably she knows that these documents or artifacts should be created by BA and provided to team.
Now, the thing is that every company is different, and every company is performing the actions and operations in different way. And my question to you is, like, if someone is working on a dysfunctional project, but it still delivers the value, and still the project is being delivered, still the customer is happy. How to identify that a person, despite the fact of maybe doing something incorrectly on the project according to the book, how to identify that this person has the right knowledge and the right skills? Are there any good tips for this?
So especially all these practices based on the projects, based on the clients as well. So it can be like written in the book, but client doesn't apply it and doesn't follow this rule, and your works based on the client's rule. But again, you can grow, you can develop your skills, and you can know all this practice even if you don't use it in your project. And you can also mention about it. So,
is there any good recipe for a perfect interview answer? Like, from your perspective as the interviewer, what elements should be in the answer? Because I heard that there was this joke many years ago that if you ask a question, junior BA will give you the answer, regular BA will tell you it depends, and a senior BA will tell you on what it depends. But joking aside, are there any good answers or good recipes for finding an answer on interview for EPAM?
Yeah, usually I expect to hear about candidate experience, answers based on the candidate experience. But if candidate knows that this is not a good practice, but know how it should be in real, so better to add this like, but it should be in this way, and I know that this is should be in this way, and provide just like a correct way of doing this task or this work. Or also like Anna didn't know about user acceptance testing, yeah, and if she said that I didn't take a part in user IT testing, but I know what is it and how it should be, so we can probably start discussing this topic and to get more details and just to get insights on it.
Sometimes I also did notice that the candidates might not necessarily know the right wording for certain things, but they have the intuition or they have the experience, just they were never naming something according to the right framework, but they have this experience. So I guess it's also important to identify and to find this right balance between theoretical knowledge and practical experience. Because I don't know whether you will agree with me, but I think I can teach someone agile waterfall in just matter of days or weeks, but to teach the analytical thinking, to teach the details about I don't know, building communication, that's more challenging, I think.
Yeah, agree. And also situation questions are also important during discussion with candidate, just to see how candidate is thinking in which way. And sometimes I even asking question in this way, just to produce a future discussion with candidates that candidate asked me more about these questions. So I can ask in the short manner, but expecting that candidate will ask more questions about.
Do you have any kind of, sometimes you might have a candidate that is trying to pretend to be a superstar and tries to know everything. Do you have sometimes some kind of tricky questions or some challenging situations for a candidate who thinks he's a know-it-all and that there are no secrets in the BE world for him or her?
I guess no, because this is not my goal, just to see that I am better the candidate or so on, that you don't know something that I know. I guess no. So.
Throughout as we were progressing with the interview, we had some of the viewers asking some questions, and I took the liberty of answering some of them. But I would like to also get to know your opinion about this, because perhaps my answer, I'm only one person, I might not always be right. I like to believe I am, but not always happens. So one of the questions was that if the person only knows one methodology, like a waterfall or agile, is it a is it a bad thing from EPAM perspective, or is one knowledge and proficiency in one methodology, is it enough to apply for a BA position?
Yeah, it's enough to apply, but again, all this methodology stuff, it can be learned pretty fast by candidate. And if it's really important for the project that we are looking for a candidate, it can be like a minus. But if it's a general interview, we'll just to look positions for but it's not like showstopper to don't hire the candidate.
Throughout your career in general as a business analyst, not necessarily only at EPAM, were you working more with agile or waterfall projects?
I started with waterfall and I worked with it probably for a year. And then switched to agile environment, especially with the Scrum and then SAFe.
What is, in general, your experience with the interview process at EPAM? Was it an enjoyable one? Would you recommend participation in the interview process and joining EPAM?
Yeah, for sure. It's really interesting for me, but it again depends on the every person preferences. Someone likes to teach others, someone likes to interview like me.
I think, at least from my experience also, is the case that when I joined EPAM, it was, actually 7 years ago. Wow, I'm a dinosaur. They told me before joining EPAM that the interview will last 1 hour, and the interview in fact lasted slightly above 2 hours. And with my interviewer, we were trying to collect requirements for designing a coffee machine. So, spoiler for those who are watching online, you will know that sometimes practical tasks appear on doing some activities, collecting requirements. And in the end, I also needed to draw a diagram of making that coffee machine. And because it was such an enjoyable exercise, and it was the last interview of that day, actually for the interviewer, it actually took us 2 hours to get to the bottom of this. I left the interview exhausted, tired, and you know, my mind was all over the place. But I knew that it will definitely be an interesting company to work for, and if EPAM would offer me a position to join, I would definitely accept it. So luckily, I guess the interviewer must thought there is something in me, so I received the offer from EPAM. But the experience itself was amazing, and I try myself as well to build that relationship with the candidate, just so that they will know that this is a good company and a good place to work. I don't know whether we have also more questions in the Community Z portal. I think for now nothing. Oh, actually, there was one question which I also allowed myself to answer. From your experience and your thought, there was this question about ceremonies for during Scrum, and there was a question in regards to sprint demo and sprint review. Now, my question to you is: do you agree that there is no such ceremony as sprint demo, and that there is only sprint review, and that the demo can be a part of the sprint review? Or maybe I answered this incorrectly, and you would like to correct me in that aspect.
It depends on the sprint review. It can be like a planning session, if it's mentioned in this part, to review what is in the sprint, or it can be like a demo session after completing the sprint and showing the demo to client.
And also a question in regards to that sometimes appears inside the interviews that there is no role of a business analyst inside Scrum team. So how we as the business analyst can advertise ourselves and how we can present to the customers, like are there any tips and tricks that you might share with our audience on how to advertise yourself as the business analyst inside Scrum, where there is no Scrum role for the business analyst?
Yeah, I have a product owner role in Scrum, yeah, and most of my experience, I perform a role, not just pure business analyst role, I perform a role of product owner or proxy product owner. So it can be advertised in this way.
What's a proxy product owner? Can you explain to our audience who is a proxy product owner?
Yeah, this is a person who mirroring the client product owner if it's available on the client side, on the development team side, and performing role like a proxy product owner in this way.
And why is it beneficial to have this proxy product owner on the project?
So in my experience, it was like only proxy product owner role without any additional BAs. And in this scenario, we were a bridge between communication with development team and client team. So collecting all requirements, I were responsible for the product scope of the product. And without proxy product owner, it will be difficult because especially if you have distributed teams with different time zones, it will be difficult to work in this way.
I think also it makes sense that people who are usually assigned and allocated to the project, they have their day-to-day work. I mean, talking about the customer side. So if there's a product owner from the customer side, they still have day-to-day work. And if they would be distracted by the development team, every hour, every half an hour with questions, it might be quite challenging and quite disturbing. And I think it's also easier to have like a one-to-one communication between product owner and proxy product owner, and then the proxy product owner to spread the information among the team, than other to be distracted on a every hour basis. So definitely that is also beneficial for that. My last question in general is, can you also like give some advice to our audience, like how to differentiate roles and responsibilities or expectations towards level 2 BA, towards a level 3 BA, or level 4, meaning regular, senior, or lead BA? What is that? Say the entry levels for each of those positions, and what do those people need to know, and what skills do they need to have to perform the activities for regular, senior, and lead BA at EPAM?
Senior BA should know most of skills that we have asked during the interview and to work autonomously. From lead BA, we are expecting to have experience in discovery phase and leading the project like a business analyst. Also be able to manage the team of BAs with splitting the work and mostly like to be a communicative part of the BA team.
Is it a must to be like a leader of people to become a lead BA?
Yeah, you have to be a leader. That people should like to also able to grow, because lead BA, this is like the last step here in EPAM. And also we're also expecting, I guess, to be a lead from senior role, because it's also very important. And if if we think that this role should work autonomously, so it should also be like a lead for the team. And if it's like a product owner role, I guess that it should be for any like level to be a lead.
Okay, that was my last question. I see we don't have any other questions on the CommunityZ portal. So I also see that unfortunately Julia was unable to rejoin us. But Valeria, thank you so much for answering all of the questions today. I hope that the audience enjoyed this mock interview, that they enjoyed the questions, and that they learned a lot about EPAM's expectations for the business analyst position, about the different entry levels. And I hope that in general, it was a very enjoyable session. Valeria, for now, once again, thank you so much. Give my best regards to Julia once you have the opportunity, and also thank her from my side, and thank her from the audience. I see that we also have a comment inside the chat of people thanking. So definitely they did stay with us all the way till the end. For all of you who are still watching, I still recommend you to review the agenda of the CommunityZ portal and review all the remaining topics. So tomorrow we have a brand new day with many more interesting presentations from our speakers today. Today, let me just say a big thank you and wishing you all a wonderful day. Please stay safe, stay healthy, stay happy, and hopefully, if you are not yet part of EPAM, definitely send your CV and join our community, because there are only two types of people in the world: those who work at EPAM and those who will work at EPAM. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jan. Thank you, everyone who joined our session. And thank you, Anna, to be a hero today.
Definitely. Big kudos to Anna for answering all the questions and for being able to participate in today's interview.